Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. That's Dan Harris, and it's you. And we're in May. Can you believe it? We have turned the page. Now we can finally stop saying it's only April. Now you can't say that anymore because now it's May. So no more excuses, no more nonsense. We've got video game injuries. We've got young prospects coming up and hitting. Oh, Dan, it's going to be a fun-filled show today, my friend.
First of all, I'm definitely going to be saying, relax, it's only May for like the next several weeks. No, whatever, it's fine. Yeah, the video game injury, that's a new one. It's rare. I mean, for any human, let alone a major league pitcher. But that's what Luzardo's doing, and cost me a matchup in a head-to-head league. It's fine. Everything's fine. But anyway, yeah, we got a lot to discuss. Big weekend.
It was very Han Solo of you. Everything's fine.
Everything's
it's fine.
How are
you?
Motto. Everything's fine. Even when I'm like, I am the meme, right, of that dog drinking coffee in his bourbon. Sort of, this is fine. I feel totally fine about everything that's happening.
Stay tuned with us too, because by the time we get to September, Dan will be like, it's only September 9th. It's only September 9th. You got plenty of time left. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. I wish I shared some of your optimism, but my goodness, I see a lot of you in the chat already. And again, if you watch the show or listen to the show, remember, we're live here every single morning, Monday through Friday on Fantasy Pros MLB channel. So make sure you subscribe to that channel right away. And let's do a little 3 up and 3 down from the weekend. Max Scherzer, complete game, looking dominant as ever, which is great, bouncing back from a less than dominant outing last time out. Corey Kluber, 3 up for him. Look at him. 100th career win. Good for you, Corey Kluber. Way to go, buddy. Way to go, champ. I'm going to get him a little participation trophy. It's great. So now he's pitched well against the Orioles and the Tigers. We'll see how that goes after. AJ Pollock, 8 RBI. Big day for him yesterday. So ups for him. But wherever there's ups, there's also downs. The Braves get swept by the Blue Jays. Not great for the Braves. Luis Robert gets hurt too. He's got the flexor straight in the hip. That's not good. That looked like he was in pain. Yeah. And of course, Jesus Luzardo injured while playing a video game. Now, I want to know, number one, what the video game was. And number two, I want to know why in our day, ball players used to go on the IL for breaking their hands from hitting some guy in a bar. And that was the ball players that I grew up with. These guys break their fingers playing video games. So what do you think it was? Was it like Kirby All-Stars was he playing? Was it like a Super Mario Maker? He just got frustrated with a level he made he couldn't pass? What do you think the game was?
I'm going to go with like old school Mario Kart, because I do see my kids playing that, and like with the way they're sort of like totally into it with their whole bodies, I'm lucky they haven't broken anything. He did pitch with it. I mean, he didn't pitch well, but he tried to pitch through it. But obviously it didn't go well. It's disappointing. But yeah, Luzardo definitely one of the bigger disappointments. Great to see Scherzer, who apparently his wife had a baby right after the game, ran right out of there after he needed a quick game.
So he's like, look, guys, I got places to go.
Look, guys, let's go. And Kluber, by the way, I see our guy Fernando saying Kluber not roster worthy. I disagree. I haven't been the biggest Kluber guy at all, and these were 2 really soft matchups, but I really liked what I saw from him just watching. His pitches, his velocity looked good. I think this might be the case of finally a guy who essentially missed 2 full years of baseball, really, finally starting to get into his stride, right? So I'm willing to roster him for sure. I'm not throwing him out there, not matchup proof, but I'm willing to roll with him for definitely on my roster for a while.
It's only May, so
it's true.
There's plenty of time. By the way, now we're looking at the White Sox without Robert, without Eloy Jimenez. Hey. I know they just got back Lance Lynn. Giolito took a loss, but obviously pitched better than he had the previous outings. White Sox are going through a rough stretch here. I would be buying, though, because if any team's going to get hot as the season goes on and gets healthy, it's going to be them. But this is going to be a rough patch, I think. It's going to be a rough May, possibly, for the White Sox, and they kind of scuffling around with the lineup a little bit. But the winner here, I think, is Andrew Vaughn.
Yes.
Because that's what I want to get to, because he's starting to hit a little bit, and now there's even more opportunities for him to play because there's a need. So this is a really good thing. If you bought or could still buy Andrew Vaughn, or if somebody dropped him and he's on the waiver wire, I would be aggressive with him, Dan.
100% agree. This is sort of what we had been waiting for. And really what we wanted to see is him getting regular playing time. And now, no matter what Tony La Russa wants to do, like, you cannot actually keep him out of lineup because you don't have enough players to play a game. So he's going to play. He's hitting really well. There was very little doubt about his ability to perform. Incredibly polished college hitter. So if he is available, and I still do see him available in a ton of leagues, pick him up. If you have him, just ride him because he's going to be productive going forward.
Now, Travis d'Arnaud was placed on the 60-day IL with a torn ligament in his thumb, and this is the old Travis d'Arnaud that you and I remember, the one who was always on the IL. He could miss the season. That is problematic, clearly, for the Braves. Kirk placed on the IL for the Blue Jays. Navarez went on the IL. Catchers are dropping like flies. Shohei Ohtani was on the elbow Sunday. I don't think he's going to make his start. We haven't gotten any definitive word as of yet this morning because he was slated to pitch today.
Correct.
So we'll see what happens. Now, Edwin Diaz came in a non-save situation, which Dan and I, this is like our biggest pet peeve in baseball. It's like, why are we doing this? I don't care about getting the work in. These guys always stink. And then he's removed because he get tightness in the back. So the whole thing is just terrible. Springer removed from Sunday's game because he must have caught general fatigue from Mitch Haniger. I heard the two of them were having a Zoom call. And people don't know this. You can actually transmit general fatigue from the Zoom call, but whatever. Trevor Story left Sunday's game hit by a pitch on the index finger. X-rays negative. It looked painful. I would doubt he's in the lineup tonight. Tommy La Stella goes on the is going on the IL with a hamstring. The Giants have a ton of injuries right now too, which is a shame because they've played pretty well. And then Marcus Stroman lifted from his start against the Phillies because of a little hamstring tightness. So hopefully that's just a tightness issue and nothing else. So lots of injuries. Anything that kind of pops to you in terms of opportunity that might arise for other players because of some of these injured spots?
No, not particularly, actually. I don't really think. I would monitor Edwin Diaz. I don't think it didn't look that. He got hit very hard in a non-save situation, as you mentioned. Just sounded like his back tightened up a little bit, so I wasn't out there. I think May would be the guy. I don't think they want to trust Juris Familia because of his propensity for walks. So I think it would be May. So monitor that if you're in daily lineup leagues. Nothing else really opens up something for other people. I do just want to point out Springer because Springer hit 2 homers on Saturday night, looked good, but he looked like he caught his cleat for a second and took a weird step. You could kind of see it. He stayed in the game and everything like that. And then he went 0 for 3 on Sunday and they removed him because of fatigue because he hadn't played. I do buy that, but I would monitor Springer closely, and I wouldn't be opposed to potentially selling high on him after his 2-homer game because I do think that his quad probably isn't 100%. I think he wants to get back out there, and I do think that there's a pretty decent potential for re-injury. Just watching him, he doesn't look 100%. So that's really the thing that stuck out to me because, again, not removed with the quad, removed because of fatigue, but if you watched him on Saturday, you look like he caught something, and there might be a little more fire underneath there that makes me a little concerned about him. So I'm monitoring that one closely. Other than that, just stinks with all the injuries. I'm hopeful Trevor Story. I agree. I don't think he's going to play tonight, but hopefully he avoided major injury.
All right, let's breeze through some of the big pitching performances from the weekend too. Garrett Cole, when lastly left you on Friday night, we said Yankees good chalk. Go use Garrett Cole. It was a good outing. 12 strikeouts against the Tigers. Of course, Shane Bieber had 11, so he's always good too. Yu Darvish was the pivot. Remember we talked about, hey, you know what, in GPP, save $1,000, go to Yu Darvish. If you did that, you did well there too because roster percentage was probably a little lower on him and the price was lower, so he might have gotten some more offense. We talked about Scherzer. Urias has pitched very well this year for the Dodgers too. I want to highlight that because I feel like, with Dustin May getting hurt this weekend too, which... Once again, here we go, as that Dodger carousel is going to start up, but Urias is really starting to become that pitcher that everybody was hoping he would be. He was a bright, shining prospect. He was I think he was 12 years old and he was pitching in high A. It was incredible what the guy was doing. And now I feel like it's finally all catching up and finally he's in the right spot here. And quietly, he's kind of having a really good season. In fact, you could argue right now that he's maybe the second best pitcher on that staff this year. Again, you probably lose the argument, but you can argue it. The stats kind of back it up. Of course, our boy Danny Duffy keeps going strong. I don't know when it's going to come to an end. It's going to be sooner than later. Also, some weirdness there with Kansas City because Junis goes to the bullpen, even though he's pitched pretty well this year. Yep. And I love Daniel Lynch. Remember, I talked about Daniel Lynch quite a bit this offseason. I'm shocked that there's nope. I can only assume it's because they want to get the other lefty in there, but I don't know. It's kind of perplexing. I'm surprised. Maybe it's a personal thing. Maybe Junis isn't well liked or said something to the manager. I don't know. Something's going on there, whatever it is. But a surprising turn of events there for Kansas City, who still finds himself at the top of the standings there in the American League Central.
Yeah, I've talked about Junis a lot. I kind of liked what I saw from him. It looked like he was in line for a 2-start week this week. So this was a surprising move here, but I guess it speaks to the fact that they want Lynch up there because you don't usually call somebody up for a start, and then maybe you'd go to a 6-man rotation or something like that. But they were just like, no, we are actually clearing a spot for you right now. So if you roster Dunas, I mean, you can drop him. They said he's going to pitch in high leverage situations in the bullpen. Maybe he'll be the closer. Who the heck knows? But yeah, this is bizarre. Lynch is an interesting guy, but I'm not like going crazy out there to pick him up. But yeah, I don't know. Threw things on its head a little bit this weekend.
Freddie Peralta was strong again against the Dodgers. 7 Ks for him, 1 run. Lance McCullers on the road. Yes, actually on the road pitched well. Yep. 7 shutout innings. That's good. Him and Urquidy pitched well this weekend too. If they get Framber Valdez back soon, which it looks like he is back on track, guess what, boys and girls? The Houston Astros are going to be right there. And this is going to be fun this week because we're going to get the Astros and the Yankees playing this week. So it'll be the first time that the Astros travel to New York, and there's going to be crowds there. So that should be very entertaining. I'm just putting that out there. That's going to be very entertaining baseball. So keep an eye on that. Carlos Martinez and Zach Plesac are turning things around there, Dan. Which one of these two guys would you rather have rest of season? Carlos Martinez or Zach Plesac?
Neither.
Good answer.
And I'm going to point this out because, Mike Mayer, who loves to troll me a little bit. There are some very, well-known, very well-respected, high-stakes players who are basically like touting Zach Plesac now and being like, anybody who told you to drop him, silly, like he's going to be fine. He did look good in this start, I will admit, and it's like his 8th start against the White Sox already because that's the only team he goes against. So kudos to him. He did make some adjustments. He did walk 4, so I'm not overly excited about Zach Plesac, as you know, but I think the bottom line is I have almost no interest in Carlos Martinez. Maybe this week, I think he maybe gets the Rockies at home if memory serves, and if so, you always like that when you get the Rockies coming off a homestand in their first game out. But long term, I don't have any interest in Carlos Martinez as much as I have no interest in Zach Plesac. He can be a back end of the rotation starter in my mind, so I would rather roster Plesac, but I'm not excited about either guy.
2 for 2. I'd rather have Plesac, but if you could sell either right now for something steadier, I would. Let's talk about some big hitters. Of course, I had Stanton on Friday, which means Judge hit a home run.
Every
single Yankee hit a home run except my
Same
guys.
Thing with the Blue Jays. I had Vladdy. Everybody else went crazy.
I know. Just dreadful. But I'm so happy to turn the page from April into May because 1 home run in April. Oh my God, I'm going to drop myself. All right, Alex Kirilloff, though, is having himself a weekend. My goodness, homered in all 3 games against the Royals. This was a player you were very much looking forward to. And I told you going into this season that Sano, for me, was in a weird place where I really think that Minnesota can absolutely turn the page to Buxton, to Kirilloff, to the Trevor Larnacks of the world eventually here down the road. And just, that's it. Like, I don't care. Like, Sano's had many opportunities. Enough is enough. Max Kepler, nice player, had 1 big year. Enough is enough. Like, I just want these young kids to play every day because I think that more athletic version of the Twins is going to be a better version as you go down the stretch for this team. So what are your thoughts so far on Kirilloff? I mean, you must be thrilled because I know you've got shares everywhere.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, again, it was 1 weekend. We don't want to go crazy, but I was not discouraged by his quote unquote slow start after being called up. He was hitting the ball pretty hard regularly. And the bottom line is Kirilloff is a pure hitter. He's going to be able to hit. And so the fact that he did this now is going to there's no chance of him being sent down at this point if he goes in a little bit of a slump. If he is available, which I don't really think he is in anything but the shallowest of leagues, he needs to be added, of course, immediately. And this is a guy who is going to be, I update my rankings every few days. I'm going to update him. He's probably going to be a top, an outfielder 4, maybe an outfielder 3, and he's got some speed too. This is going to be a great season. I hope you listened and drafted him because I really do think that this is going to be a special type of year for the kid.
Yeah, I moved him up in my rankings too on Friday. I think it's just the right thing to do because the more he hits, the more he solidifies his spot. And that to me is what it's about with Kirilloff. It's not talent. It's just, is he going to get everyday at bats when the roster comes back to full health? And I think the answer right now is yes. Andrew Benintendi, 2 homers Saturday. He's starting to heat up and turn things around, which is really good if you have patience. Remember, it was only April. Jared Walsh, he had 2 home runs against the Mariners. Chris Bryant, 3 homers in the series against the Reds. AJ Pollock, we mentioned him, 3 homers, 9 RBIs in the series against the Brew Crew. And Nick Castellanos continues to be red hot for the Reds, so good stuff there. I want to talk a little bit about Francisco Lindor because I see it in the chat with the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks. And we had a big discussion on the TV Sunday about Lindor, and I just want to remind everybody, whenever a guy signs a big contract, especially in a bigger market, usually there's struggles. They press. It's just for the Met fan alone, you should remember Carlos Beltran very well. You should remember that first stretch of Carlos Beltran where he was so bad and they booed him, and then he hit that home run and he wouldn't come out of the dugout, and then Carlos Delgado finally was like, hey, stop being a jerk, and pushed him out of the dugout, and he was like, okay. And then, of course, you got to embrace it. You got to be like, yeah, okay, they're booing me, I suck, whatever. You got to take your hat off. You've got to, like, engage with them. Beltran, I remember, that was always when I knew it was never going to work. No matter what he did, no matter what, like, it was never going to come together. Bryce Harper a couple years ago, when he signed that huge contract with the Phillies, he struggled mightily out of the gate. This is just something that tends to happen. Be patient. If you can get Lindor anywhere, get him. He's an all-world talent. I don't know what else is there to say about that, but Dan, I feel like the people are kind of getting crazy here about Lindor, and I understand the Met fans being extra crazy about it, but just give it time. I mean, I'm not really worried about Lindor, are you?
No. You and I mean, you and I are Mets fans, so if anybody, should be getting upset about it and it would be us. I'm not at all. Look, the Beltran thing's a little worrisome because that actually, I believe that was his second year when he finally broke out. And so the first year was kind of all down. It's possible somebody's going to struggle. But with players like Lindor, unless there is an injury, I talk about this all the time, I refuse to be concerned. My guess is he's pressing a little bit. I know he's pulling a lot. He looks like he's trying to do too much. You see it on a couple of swings, right? Where it's like, you don't need the grand slam here. You know what you need? A 2-run single. So do that. He's pressing a little bit. I understand he's got a huge contract. I have no problem. I would be buying him anywhere I could.
I'd also be buying Eugenio Suarez, and I'll tell you why. I went back and did a little homework for our little Fantasy Pros, Featured Pros dingy-bobber that we did on Friday.
Yep.
And I found some cool stats. Remember when Eugenio Suarez hit 40 home runs a couple years ago and everybody loved Eugenio Suarez? Well, in the month of June, I believe it was, he had a stat line that was really eerily similar to what he had in April this month, which was somewhere around like a $150 batting average, like a 220 OBP, and like a 200 slugging or something like that. And he still hit 40 home runs that year. So there's more left in that tank. I'd be buying everywhere. If he did that season where he hit 40 and people don't remember it because it was in June, I would be buying everywhere. Some other guys too. Let's see if we're going to buy or sell some of these performances. Willie Calhoun excelling from the leadoff spot, looking really good there, slashing 347, 396, 490. Michael Conforto, 4 ribbies this weekend. We talked about him starting to heat up, and that was inevitable. Mitch Garver, also, like the numbers are bad, but he's been hot lately, 4 for 12. He had a good series. And, of course, Daniel Lynch coming up. But between Conforto and Calhoun, I know we're all buying Conforto. What are your thoughts on Calhoun and Garver? Do you think those guys are trending in the right direction?
Yeah, I'm buying all those guys. Really. Willie Calhoun, I'm so happy to see this. You and I think you were the first one to be like, where I'm going? I'm going Willie Calhoun. And I was like, all right, I'm a little maybe off. But the more I dig into it, I used to be a huge fan when he first came up. So this is great. I mean, it's pretty clear that last year got sidetracked by the fact that he was hit in the face. And then he had a lot of, some off the field concerns that he talked pretty openly about. He's back. He's batting leadoff. As you mentioned, I love him. He should be universally rostered. Conforto, as we talked about, great. He's coming out of his shell, starting to hit. You knew he would. And Mitch Garver, I was actually pretty excited about Mitch Garver coming into the year. I realized he wouldn't play every day. He never does, but he should hit for power. He got off to that awful start. Now he still doesn't play every day, but he's got 3 homers in his last 3 games started. I do think he's going to be a top 12 catcher at the very least rest of the season.
All right, let's talk to some of the chat here. Zeb Perry wants to know, is Chris Paddock droppable? Well, he's on the IL, so I wouldn't drop him.
Right.
It's a tough situation here. It hasn't been good out of the gate. What are your thoughts? You're just going to sit and hold and wait and hope it gets better?
Yeah, a guy like Paddock is a guy who, maybe unfortunately is the type of guy that I will always hold because I've seen it before. Now, I haven't seen it in 2 seasons, and I haven't seen much this year to make me excited, but I'm still going to hold. I may not start when he comes off the IL. I think it's just the COVID IL, but I may not start him immediately, but I will hold him, not drop him.
I got to tell you, I was impressed with him out of the gate in 2019, so I think we just kind of hope that he gets back to form. He had some better starts in April, too, some good and some bad, if you go back and look at the game log. Who would you rather have? Go say, how much longer do you want to hold on to Joey Gallo and Josh Bell? Well, I'm holding on to Josh Bell. He showed some signs of life this week a little bit, so I don't know what, I wouldn't worry about that. And Joey Gallo, this is Joey Gallo. You draft Joey Gallo, you have to understand you're going to get some awful stretches. He is an all or nothing hitter. Forget the 260 year. It's never going to happen again. It's like fetch. Just stop trying to make it happen. It's just over. Just move on and understand Joey Gallo is a guy who's probably going to hit 35 bombs. Maybe 30 of them come in 1 month. I don't know. That's Joey Gallo. And if you're playing in head-to-head formats, I don't know what to tell you. You should know what you're getting into here. Your thoughts on these 2 guys? I feel like it's the same thing, right?
Well, Josh Bell, I mean, I see a lot of people asking about dropping Josh Bell, put aside this weekend, which was great. And he looked good. And he had the big bases loaded double, right-handed, by the way, which was really nice on the 0-2 pitch. I have zero concerns about Josh Bell. I'm completely writing off his early season struggles to the fact that he was on the COVID list and couldn't take pitching for like 10 days.
Yeah.
There's no chance. And I would be buying Josh Bell anywhere I could. As for Gallo, you explained it perfectly, which is this is Joey Gallo. If you're going to start getting annoyed at the fact that he's batting like 220 and he goes for stretches where he doesn't hit for a ton of power, then you have never rostered Joey Gallo, because that is what Joey Gallo is. He will come up with like a 10 homer month at some point coming in. So no concerns really about either one of these guys.
If you're in season long with Joey Gallo, you just got to sit and hold and wait for it. And if you want to bench him in the meantime, bench him in the meantime. Who cares? You see Bedoy 25. I hope I'm saying that. I see Bedoy, you see Bedoy, we all see Bedoy.
Sure.
Was offered Correa and, just Correa for Morton and Aaron Savali. He currently has Marcus Semien. Do I take that? So you've been offered Carlos Correa for Morton and Savali. Why would you trade two quality pitchers, especially Savali, who's been outstanding, when Semien's starting to hit? I love Carlos Correa more than most, but that's not a good deal. I see a lot of people wanting to trade their pitching. Slow that roll, everybody. I saw all over Twitter today. You notice that? Like last 24 hours, I want to trade these two pitchers. Like, what are you doing? These guys are dropping like flies. No. Hold on to the pitching if you got any good pitching, and be proactive about getting some of these other guys. And look, if you picked up Duffy off the waiver wire earlier, like you did well, and some other guys you did well. But I don't know, Dan. I don't know what people are thinking about here.
Well, let's talk about Morton for a very quick second, because Morton has over a 5 ERA, and I think I see some people getting frustrated. I mean, you don't like a 5
it's
ERA
only
or
May.
anything like that. It's only May, but I'm encouraged by what, and I have a lot of Morton, so I watch a lot of his starts. I'm encouraged, and you look at his FIP and his xFIP, 338 expected ERA, 367 FIP, 344 xFIP. The guy has been fine. He's striking out over 10 batters per 9 innings. I have no concerns about Charlie Morton. And in fact, rather than selling him, I would be buying low on Charlie Morton. So do not, and if you have somebody like that, God, don't trade him. Pitchers go down like flies. Please hold the pitching, trade the offense for pitching if you can.
How does that d'Arnaud injury in your mind affect the Braves pitching staff?
It's a fair question. I don't think d'Arnaud, and to be as fair as possible, I haven't really looked into this, but I don't think d'Arnaud is somebody who, especially for a guy like Morton, who's a veteran and everything like that, I don't really think it's going to make a difference that much as to what, he's not one of these elite pitch framers necessarily like Yasmani Grandal, who you're like, oh, wow, look what you can do for somebody. So very minimally, if anything, he was a big, a key cog in the offense. So I do think that that's going to really affect how they're doing, and they're struggling overall. So if anything, maybe lowers their win potential. But other than that, I'm not really worried about it.
All right, fair enough. Before we get to DFS, I know what you're all here for. It's the Manscaped time. That's right. I want to thank the sponsor of our show, Manscaped. Everybody here loves the Manscaped products. And no, the 5.0, I see you making jokes. It's not available yet. The 4.0 just came out. Come on now, let's not get greedy. So anyway, here we are. I mean, we're getting closer and closer. Father's Day around the corner. The Manscaped products make great gifts. They've got all kinds of really cool packages and gift bags and basket kind of things you could get together there. But the Lawnmower 3.0 is out there. The 4.0 is on its way for those of you who need that extra power. But I'm telling you right now, the battery lasts up to 90 minutes. If you can't get clean in 90 minutes, then I don't know. You just recharge it, I guess, and go back for some more. It's waterproof. It's got an LED light, which is cool. You can manscape in the dark, which is, I know, what so many people love to do. And, of course, 7,000 glorious RPMs of quiet stroke technology. So trim that junk of yours with the Lawnmower 3.0. Get 20% off plus free shipping. And the code is Leading Off. Again, go to manscaped.com with the code Leading Off and get 20% off your order with free shipping. And for the ladies who are watching here and listening to the show, because I know you are, again, this is a nice little gift. It's like, oh, I was listening to Joe and Dan, and they talk about the Manscaped products. Here you go, honey. Boom, there you go. You get it for your boyfriend or for your your loved one or whatever. Just go get that code out there, Leading Off, and make sure you get your Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 or even 4.0. Is it even available? I feel like it's black market that I have it before everybody else, and it makes me feel really cool that I'm like a step above, Dan.
I don't think I would ever call you a step above anybody, but yes, I believe that it's out or it's coming out. Yeah, Father's Day coming up. Go. Do it. Get crazy.
All right. It's a new month. It's a new day. Yes, it is. It's May. So I am ready to go on a home run tear. That's it. I've been putting in some extra work in the cage. Let's start with the 10-game slate tonight in MLB DFS. The Dodgers are the good chalk tonight in terms of cash game arms. You got Aaron Savali, who's 9.5 on FanDuel, but just 8.9 on DK. You rarely see the DK price for a pitcher be cheaper, especially somebody of that ilk. So that's interesting. It made me kind of raise my eyebrow a little bit. Tyler Glasnow 10-8 and 10-3, and Walker Buehler 10-2 and 9-6. So these are the big name arms on the slate. Is it easy to just go to Glasnow and not overthink it, or are you going to take a little bit of that Savali discount, or maybe even Walker Buehler against Kyle Hendricks and the Cubs?
I probably won't go Savali just because of the strikeout, the lack of strikeout upside, especially though with Glasnow. I don't know who's starting for the Angels. As we said, it should be Shohei Ohtani, but both of us kind of doubt that he makes his start. So the win potential is there. I almost always go with Glasnow. I wouldn't mind Buehler right now for two reasons. Number one, the Cubs strike out a ton. Number two, Buehler has come out and said that he needs to strike out more batters, and he's been doing that of late. The one thing I would say is that there is rain in the forecast in Chicago for that game with Buehler, so I might shy away from that. So for me, I'm almost certainly going Glasnow for this one, but if the rain lightens up, I would consider at least going Buehler for the minor discount.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on that Ohtani situation. Is he playing? Is he pitching? Is he not? Whatever. And by the way, I love that Ohtani opened up his own Spite store yesterday too. After getting hit, he then steals second and third. I love that.
Right.
Like, it's great. It's great. God, he is one of us. I love that. He's just an angry player. All right, let's talk about some of those other arms there. You got Adam Wainwright, 7.2K on FanDuel against the Mets, who I think is very much in play. He's looked very good. I can't believe I'm saying these words, but I feel confident in Adam Wainwright and not so confident in the Mets offense. I don't care what they did yesterday. And then German Marquez in Colorado, but his last two starts in Colorado have been good. 8.2 for Marquez. Secondary arms, Wainwright's 8K, Marquez is 7.1. I think both of those guys on DK really play. Even if you want to pair them together and kind of fade the top group a little bit, because the top group it's not Cole, it's not Bieber, it's not DeGrom, it's not that grouping where you got to worry, I think, about the 12 strikeout performance and chasing that. I actually think there's something to be said for coming down to the Wainwright-Marquez pairing even. And then there's the fascinating situation where you get Daniel Lynch making his debut in 2021 for just 4K on DK, which is one of those things that I like Daniel Lynch as a pitcher, and I'm slightly tempted, but it is against Savali, so I'm going to let it go, but I just wanted to say it out loud that I love when these things happen, and sometimes you can actually make money with those.
Yeah, I think you've got two 4K pitchers going on, right? Miguel Diaz for the Padres. Yeah, I mean, look, you might as well have a lineup with them because you could really do whatever you want. I'm going to throw one other name out there right now, and this is much more about, I guess, more of a feeling like I had with that Montas start against the Rays, or I think it was that time that worked out well. And it's Maeda, who is 7.8K. He's been absolutely terrible, but against the Rangers here at home, I think they'll hit against Dane Dunning. I just feel like this is going to be the get right game for Maeda because it has to be, and he's too good of a pitcher to continue to struggle. Things will even out. The Rangers obviously have a low implied total. They're not hitting all that well. So at 7.8K on DK, he might be a guy who I might look at as a secondary arm because, again, I don't think too many people are going to be like, "Ooh, you know who I want to start right now? It's Kenta Maeda." So
this is why we're friends because I had that same inclination this morning, and I wanted to type it in there, and I went, "I don't know if I could do it." I wanted to bring it up as a multi-entry play, like maybe you have that one lineup that's got Maeda, and it's as a secondary arm, not as the single standalone guy on FanDuel. So Dan and I are in agreement there, so we're going to live and die with that. So that should be fun tomorrow morning. So make sure you join us here on Fantasy Pros MLB to see how that share went. And maybe one share. I don't know. I don't know if I can really do it. I'm always just kind of want to sit back and watch it. I feel like I invest in it. It's probably going to go south, but if I don't, it'll be good, and I want him to be good.
There are times where if I make the call, I don't even feel necessarily the need to invest myself because I'm so heavily invested anytime I recommend somebody. But I will if I do play. Again, tonight is Little League night, so it's always a little difficult.
It's tough on Little League night.
Old Dan Harris to make sure I'm setting my lineups because the kid's going to be at the game, don't have all the access. But if I do on DK, I will have at least one lineup, I promise, with Maeda as my secondary arm.
All right, let's get to the offenses today. I love the San Diego Padres stack. against the Pittsburgh Pirates today. I'm going heartily into that one.
Yep.
Game stacks today, I think you got 2 of them. Baltimore and Seattle's kind of cheap, kind of interesting. And Milwaukee, Philadelphia, I think you're going to get some higher totals in those 2 games combined. And then in terms of pricing, how about this? Alex Kirilloff is just 2.4 and 2.9. Hello! 2.9 on DK for Kirilloff. DK was out last night getting drunk on and just completely forgot to change the salaries on Alex Kirilloff. AJ Pollock, 2.1 on FanDuel, 3.5 on DK, cheap. Dylan Carlson on DK, also 3.4. And Nico Horner, 2.8 on FanDuel. Still, I talked about this yesterday on the TV show, and still on SportsGrid, I was like, Nico Horner, when are they going to catch up to this guy now? I know he collided with Ian Happ, and hopefully everything's okay there.
Yeah.
Conforto is just 2.8, but Horner's another guy. He should come up and done nothing but hit, which has been great, because that was another player we thought was like a free square in drafts, and a lot of people were disappointed to make the team outright. You know what? Again, patience. It's only April. Let's do our home run calls of the night, and we'll call it a day here. I am going with a Padre, and Dan Harris is going with a Padre. I can only hope that we're both right, or at least I'm right. So, Dan Harris, which Padre is yours?
I'm going to take Tatis. Again, I have poo-pooed the long-term outlook of Fernando Tatis Jr. this year with that shoulder, but on a one-game day, against Tyler Anderson, the lefty, I will go with Tatis for my home run call.
Prisoner of the moment is Dinger Harris. I am going to go with Manny Machado. That's right, all the big boys, which means it'll be, I don't know, it'll be like Tommy Pham hitting a home run today.
Yeah, exactly.
Some other San Diego Padres. Jake Cronenworth, 3 dingers tonight. There you go. Yeah. So Machado and Tatis will have our eyes on the late games, and we'll be back again tomorrow to do it all again. So hope you enjoyed the program, and a reminder to subscribe wherever you get your podcast to Leading Off here at Fantasy Pros, and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can watch us live on Fantasy Pros MLB. Don't forget, we've got a new giveaway as well, thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction. The Ronald Acuna jersey is in the books. We'll announce that winner today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We want to let it breathe a little bit. Yep. But the new piece of Vladimir Guerrero autograph baseball. Oh, that's going to look so nice on the mantle. Everybody's going to love the Vladdy autograph ball. Again, you go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. You take a review on Apple Podcasts or CastBox that you made, screenshot it, go fill out that form at www.fantasypros.com/MLB contest. You upload that, and boom, just like that, you are entered to win a Vladimir Guerrero autograph ball. Holla. Everybody loves that. And of course, don't forget, speaking of balls, take care of yours with Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping with the code Leading Off. Everybody loves that. That'll do it for me and Dinger Harris, but the story of the game goes on. We'll see you tomorrow, kids.